Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Negrin, Field CTO for SingleStore. And I'm here to talk with Mauricio, a good friend, from Impact. He's the principal data architect and is a key member of the team that selects data stores for Impact, which is one of our biggest and oldest customers on the managed service. So Mauricio, why don't you give us talk a little bit about yourself and then tell us about Impact and the customers you serve.
Yeah, hi, everybody. That's right, principal architect data group. I'm responsible for data stores, delivering data, data movements all across our analytics infrastructure. So yeah, let me tell you a little bit about what Impact is. We do performance advertising where brands pay per outcome, such as a sale, a lead, a download, a sign up, rather than paying per impression or click. So traditionally, this meant affiliate and cashback programs, but lately we've been moving more towards influencer and B2B kind of setups and use cases. Our product offering has grown around that to include compliance, for example. So our partners using our brand name, the brand's name appropriately, for example, are they compliant with regulations? Also fraud, is this a real human doing this click versus a robot? We do attribution. So for example, besides the click that drove a conversion, what other partners contributed to it? And we, of course, handle all the tracking, all the funds transfers. So we support over 60 currencies. And so you could have a brand in Japan, for example, paying in yen, funding their account in yen, but seamlessly paying partners all over the globe in their local currencies, euros, US dollars, whatever. So that's in a nutshell what we do.
Got it. So you're doing got a pretty big data processing backend, right? Processing all this data, but you also have a customer-facing application that your influencers use to go get access to those metrics, right?
Exactly.
Got it. Right.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about maybe the speeds and feeds, like how much data and how many customers you have to serve, and how many of them come in at any given time? You know, sort of the peak times. How much data you have to ingest, something of that.
Sure. On average, hourly, we're doing about 20 million events, which may not sound as huge as you might expect. We do very little impression tracking. It's mostly clicks and conversions. But we do use that data in many different ways, of course. And we have relatively few users, concurrent users to our apps and our and so on, where people are looking at their traffic. It's about 1,000 concurrent users. But we do track a lot of events, and people do run quite a few reports throughout the day. Yeah.
And your users expect low latency, very interactive experience, right? They don't want to be sitting and waiting. Yes, that's a key aspect I know of your business. And I'll tell you, you may think 1,000 concurrent users are small, but compared to most of our customers, that's actually pretty significant and pretty hard to do well and maintain those low latency SLAs. So that's pretty impressive. So how did you first come to use SingleStore? Like, what was the first use case, and what was the problem, and how did you find us?
Well, you mentioned second reporting, and that's exactly why. At first, frankly, it was your name at the time that drove us to reach out to you guys. MemSQL, we were looking for a in-memory data store, because we thought that's what would enable that sub-second response. In the end, of course, we learned that it wasn't really just that, but you guys have a great engine, great data structures, and so on. So even though, yes, a lot of it is cached in memory, it's not what it is, in fact. But that is how we came to know you guys.
Got it. And so what did that do for your business, being able to use SingleStore for that use case?
Well, we were using Cloudera, Impala, and continue to in some parts, but we could never, as much as we tried to optimize our data structures and our reports, we could never really get reporting to be sub-second. It was typically more in the 2 to 5 to 10 seconds. So it was just not the experience we wanted to deliver to our customers. And I'm not just talking about exploratory ad hoc BI. I'm also talking about canned reports, standard reports, dashboards, widgets, that kind of thing. We wanted that to be a lot more snappy than we were able to deliver it at the time.
Right. And SingleStore is able to deliver that low latency analytics and make it a delight for your customers to use your product.
Exactly.
And so it's interesting you talk about the name and how that brought you for the first use case. And of course, we changed our name to SingleStore because we want to be the SingleStore for all your workloads. So I know you've been busy working on a new use case Can you tell them about that use case and kind of what it was about and what we're doing for it?
Well, the new use cases, all the use cases, because whereas up until now, our main data warehouse has been in Impala and Kudu, Cloudera products, and SingleStore has been a data mart with only about 20 to 30% of all our data. Even though it only holds 20% of our data, it satisfies at this point about 80% of all the reporting requests. What we're going to do now is SingleStore will become our main data warehouse that will satisfy and do 100% of the data and the reporting requests and all the use cases. So,
right. So it'll literally be your SingleStore for all your workloads.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So I know you did a lot of performance testing, evaluating, making sure that it could deliver on all that. Can you give me a little bit more detail on what that performance assessment looked like and how we stacked up against the other technologies you compared us against?
Yeah, we looked at 4 players. You guys, obviously, BigQuery, Cloudera, the next iteration, which is CDP. We're still on CDH, and Snowflake. And all have good things, but they all had a pitfall or 2 that really held us back. Whereas you guys really ticked all the boxes. I mean, obviously, the sub-second reporting, the separation of storage and compute, such as you guys are about to deliver with Workspaces. Fast by key lookups, primary keys for idempotency and transactions also, multiple indexes, all these things put together. Oh, also the fact that it's easy to connect, it behaves very much like MySQL. You can connect with a simple username and password. Traditionally for us with Cloudera, it's been very difficult because up until recently, it required us to use Kerberos and setting up Kerberos tickets and all this stuff for any client out there. And in fact, in some instances, that wasn't even possible for some clients that we had simply did not support it. So yeah, all of these different features mean that the main thing for me is basically that we can have one set of data, one table, one data structure that can satisfy many use cases. You can find a specific record among billions to do a fast by key lookup. You can do analytic queries on any column because it's columnar, but you can also do sub-second super fast reporting on a couple of columns that have indexes. So it really enables you to do all kinds of things with one piece of data without having to duplicate it and have separate pipelines and then potentially have data discrepancies between them and have to monitor your issues between them and so on. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, and that's delivering on our promise around what we call our universal storage, right? And being the single table type that can handle all your workloads.
Exactly.
It's great to hear how well that's been received and that all that's working so great for you. So what you mentioned Workspaces, like what's exciting about that's upcoming in the roadmap? Like what are you excited to go use next?
Workspaces is very exciting for us because traditionally, again, because we support so many use cases, so many tenants in the system. We in Cloudera, for example, there are different database pools, and you guys also support this. So that gives you a little bit of isolation between different workloads, but it's not very fine-grained. So as much as you try, one tenant in one application can still go crazy a little bit and affect others. So with Workspaces, what we want to do is have a main read-write type workspace where we do our ETL and we load and we maintain the data, but then have individual separate workspaces, read-only ones for all our different tenants so that they're using their own compute and they do not affect everybody else. That's super important. For example, I'll tell you, one of the use cases we serve is API, and sometimes we will have a bad actor or 2 that even though we do throttling and API rate limiting and so on, it still manages to create a little bit of havoc in our current system. So with this, they'll have their own thing. And if an API goes a little crazy, it'll only affect API a little bit, but everybody else, such as humans reading, actually viewing reports will not be affected. So we're very excited about that.
Got it. Makes sense. Glad it's working out for you. And we're very excited to get that feature delivered and in your hands. Hopefully very soon. Okay, that wraps up kind of all the questions. Anything else you want to share about your experience working with SingleStore, or anything else you want to leave us with?
Well, it's been a pleasure also working with you guys. Great sales org, great service. It's not just the fact that we have really well laid out and structured QBRs, but also I know you guys are a Slack or a call away if we run into any trouble. The product has been super stable. It's like you said, we're in the managed product, so we don't really have to do anything. The couple of times there's been some fleeting hiccups, you guys have been right on it. So having seen that over the last 2 years also gave us a lot of confidence that we could put all our eggs into your basket, because that was a big decision. But yeah, it's been great working with you guys. Looking forward to it for many years.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us and share your story and say all these great things about the product. We appreciate working with you, and we plan to continue working with you and growing the partnership and helping you impact your customers in a positive way going forward.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Talk to you guys. Thanks so much.